But this whole thing's been a nightmare.
I'm more concerned about my marriage.
Here's a look ahead.
I'm happy to always help.
I'm gonna need all the help I can get.
Oh, yeah, I like that one. Can you send it to Mommy?
Go. Be with your family.
You are trying to destroy his life, and there's nothing you can do about it.
The weight of the Forrester mansion had never felt so oppressive. For Brooke Logan, the very air in the grand foyer, thick with the scent of expensive flowers and old money, seemed to vibrate with a shared, unspoken terror. She stood by the marble fireplace, her knuckles white as she gripped the mantelpiece, her gaze fixed on her daughter. Hope, usually a portrait of serene grace, was pacing, the silk of her robe whispering a frantic rhythm against the polished floor. "We can't just live like this, Mom." Hope's voice was a strained whisper, frayed at the edges. Looking over our shoulders every second, wondering if every shadow is her. The her needed no name. It hung between them, a spectral poison. Sheila Carter. The woman was less a person and more a force of nature, a hurricane of obsession and violence that had, once again, breached their carefully constructed lives. Her fixation on Hope's husband, Finn, was a cancer, and her recent manipulations, her terrifying proximity to their family, had shifted something fundamental. This was no longer about weathering a storm, it was about survival. Brooke turned, her eyes, once full of nothing but hope for the future, now hardened into chips of blue steel. "We're not going to live like this, honey. We're not. We've tried being passive. We've tried letting the men handle it, letting the legal system handle it. And where has it gotten us? She's still here. A phantom haunting our family. But what can we do that hasn't been tried before?" Hope asked, her voice trembling with a vulnerability that tore at Brooke's heart. "Steffi tried. Ridge tried. The police have tried. She's like a cockroach that survives a nuclear blast." A slow, dangerous smile touched Brooke's lips. It was a smile her rivals in the boardroom had learned to fear. "Then we don't set off a bomb. We lay a trap. A specific, targeted trap. For a cockroach, you don't use a sledgehammer. You use the perfect bait." Hope stopped her pacing, her eyes widening as she absorbed her mother's transformation. This wasn't the passionate, often impulsive Brooke who followed her heart into chaos. This was the Logan who had built a multi-million-dollar company from the ground up. This was the CEO. "What bait?" Hope asked, her voice barely a breath. "You," Brooke said, her tone leaving no room for argument. "And me." Her two greatest obsessions, outside of Finn. "She hates me because I represent everything she thinks kept her from a normal life with Eric and Ridge. And she's obsessed with you because you are the gateway to the son she claims to love. We are her triggers. And we're going to use that." Over the next hour, the elegant sitting room became a war room. The delicate porcelain teacups sat forgotten as a legal pad was produced, and Brooke began to sketch out their strategy with a fierce, focused energy. "We need to understand her psychology," Brooke stated, tapping the pen on the paper. "Sheila doesn't just want a family, she wants to possess it. To control it. Her love is a form of ownership. And her greatest weakness is her inability to tolerate being rejected by those she's claimed as her own." Hope nodded, a flicker of her own resolve igniting. "So, we make her feel rejected. Publicly. Humiliated. Exactly. We don't attack her directly. We make her come to us. We create a scenario where she feels her place in this family is being stolen, and she'll be unable to resist confronting the threat." Brooke's mind was racing, connecting threads. The upcoming Forrester Foundation Gala. It's the most public event of the season. The whole family will be there, including Finn. We use that. Hope leaned forward, the strategist in her awakening. We make it seem like the family is finally, officially, moving on without her. That we're erasing her. More than that, Brooke's eyes gleamed. We make it seem like I am being welcomed back into the inner circle with open arms, and that you are leading the charge to have her declared an unfit mother, legally and permanently severing her from Finn and Hayes. The plan was audacious, dangerous, and psychologically brutal. They would weaponize the very public platform the Forresters provided. Brooke would give interviews to Ion Fashion, subtly mentioning how wonderful it was to be back in Eric's good graces, how the family was healing now that certain negative, destructive influences were being purged. She would be photographed with Eric and Donna, a picture of Logan's solidarity and forgiveness, a stark contrast to Sheila's perpetual exile. Hope's role was even more critical. She would be the grieving, righteous daughter-in-law. In a carefully staged moment at the gala, during a speech, she would break down, speaking of the constant fear for her child's safety, for her husband's well-being. She would call for a permanent restraining order, not just for herself, but on behalf of Hayes, and she would passionately appeal to the family to support a motion to have Sheila's parental rights, for all intents and purposes, terminated in the court of public opinion, putting immense pressure on the legal system. "She won't be able to stand it," Hope whispered, a cold certainty settling over her. To hear me, the daughter-in-law she pretends to want a relationship with, stand in front of all of Los Angeles high society and declare her a monster who should never see her grandchild again. She'll have to respond. And that's when we have her, Brooke finished. The security will be tighter than Fort Knox, but we'll have a specific team, briefed only by us, whose sole job is to watch for her. Not to stop her at the door, but to let her in. To let her get to us. The days leading up to the gala were a masterclass in psychological warfare. Brooke's interviews ran, her words dripping with honeyed venom. Hope was seen entering a lawyer's office with Finn, her face a mask of determined sorrow. The buzz in Beverly Hills was palpable. The Logan women were on the warpath, and their target was clear. The night of the gala arrived. The Forrester Creations headquarters was transformed into a cathedral of light and elegance. But for Brooke and Hope, gliding through the crowd in their stunning gowns, it was a battlefield. They exchanged a look, a silent confirmation. The bait was set. Hope's moment came during the tribute to Eric. As she took the microphone, her hand trembled, but her voice was clear and carried a devastating resonance. "Family is everything," she began, her eyes scanning the crowd, finding Finn's supportive gaze, then Steffi's, then Ridge's. "It's our foundation. But what happens when that foundation is threatened by a poison? A poison that pretends to be love, but is really a sickness of obsession and control." She paused, letting the words hang in the air. "I stand here tonight, not just as Hope Logan, but as a wife and a mother, living in fear. Fear of a woman who has shown time and again that she has no boundaries, no conscience, and no right to call herself a mother or a grandmother." From a service entrance, shrouded in the shadows of a potted palm, a figure watched. Sheila Carter, disguised in a server's uniform she'd stolen, her body trembling with a rage so pure it was a physical force. She listened as Hope, her own daughter-in-law, eviscerated her in front of everyone who mattered. "I am here tonight to ask this family and the world to see her for what she is," Hope continued, her voice breaking with perfectly pitched emotion. "A threat, a monster. And I will not rest until my son, my husband, and this family are permanently, legally, and completely safe from her." A slow clap echoed from the back of the room. The crowd parted, gasping, as Sheila stepped out of the shadows, her eyes burning with homicidal fury. The security team, as instructed by Brooke and Hope's private lead, held back, allowing her to advance. "A curse?" Sheila's voice was a low, dangerous snarl. "You dare? You, a little girl playing house, dare to tell me what I am?" The room was frozen, a tableau of shock and horror. But Brooke stepped forward, placing herself between Sheila and her daughter. "It's over, Sheila," Brooke said, her voice calm and impossibly steady. "They all see you now. They see the real you, the pathetic, desperate, hateful woman who can only connect with others through fear and manipulation. You have no power here." Sheila's focus snapped to Brooke, her hatred finding its oldest and most potent target. "You. This is your doing. You and your perfect daughter. You've always thought you were better than me. You took everything from me." "You had nothing to begin with, Sheila," Brooke countered, her gaze never wavering. "Because what you call love is a disease. You didn't lose a family, you tried to steal one. And we are taking it back. The confrontation was everything they had hoped for and more terrifying than they could have imagined. Sheila, utterly unhinged by the public rejection and humiliation, lunged, not at Hope, but at Brooke, her fingers curled into claws. It was the provocation they needed. As Sheila screamed obscenities, detailing her twisted version of their shared history, the specialized security team moved in, not to subdue her quietly, but to let her hang herself with her own words and actions, all recorded on a dozen phones and the event's own cameras. Sheila was dragged away, her screams echoing through the hall, but the victory felt hollow. The cost of the battle was etched on every face in the room. Later, back at the mansion, the adrenaline had faded, leaving behind a bone-deep exhaustion. Brooke and Hope sat in silence on the sofa, the events of the evening replaying in their minds. "We did it," Hope finally said, her voice hollow. "We exposed her. In front of everyone."
There's no coming back from that.
Brooke reached out and took her daughter's hand. It was cold. "We did what we had to do. We protected our family. We used the only weapons she understands, rejection and humiliation." "But at what cost, Mom?" Hope looked at her, her eyes filled with a new kind of pain. "We became strategists, plotters. We laid a trap, and we baited it with our own souls. I stood up there, and I performed. It was the truth, but I delivered it like a weapon. Is that who we are now?" Brooke was quiet for a long time, staring into the fireplace where this had all begun. "We are Logan women, Hope. We love fiercely. And when what we love is threatened, we fight with everything we have. We used our minds this time, not just our hearts. We outsmarted a monster.
There's no shame in that.
There's only survival." She squeezed Hope's hand, a silent transfer of strength. The war for their family wasn't over. With Sheila, it never truly was. But a decisive battle had been won. Not with fists or fury, but with a cold, calculated, and deeply personal target on the one woman who had taught them that sometimes the boldest move isn't to follow your heart, but to outthink your enemy. And in the beautiful, cutthroat world they inhabited, that was the most powerful weapon of all. They had not just survived Sheila Carter, they had, for the first time, truly beaten her at her own game. And the victory, though painful, was theirs. The Bold and the Beautiful, BNB, spoilers for Friday, October 24th, reveal that Bill Spencer, Don Diamant, will call out the phony Luna Nozawa, Lisa Yamada, Danger, while Hope Logan, Annika Noel, and Liam Spencer, Scott Clifton, get some help from 3 matchmakers. Will Spencer, Crew Morrow, could tell Luna was trying to manipulate him into caring about her during his recent prison visit. However, Will made it clear that Luna's plan wasn't going to work since he only cares about the well-being of his baby. That said, it was tough for Will to see Luna behind bars and know that his unborn child could be in jeopardy. Will knows his baby doesn't deserve any of this, so he's having a hard time with this whole situation. As for Bill, he'll expose Luna's strategy to Will, Liam, and Katie Logan, Heather Tom, on Friday's BNB episode. Bill will be convinced that Luna arranged for that black eye to stir up sympathy and make another push for freedom. With that in mind, Bill may insist they can't surrender to Luna and let her think she's the one running the show. Instead, Bill may argue that they have to leave Luna locked up and stick to their eventual custody plan. It's possible Bill will outsmart Luna and use his influence to get Luna thrown in solitary confinement. That would ensure the safety of the baby and stop Luna from carrying out any other stunts like this one. On another note, Katie will have a conversation with Liam about his future, namely the one he could still have with Hope and Beth Spencer, Jordan Gracie. While Katie gives Liam a nudge toward a romantic reunion with Hope, Deacon Sharp, Sean Cannon, and Brooke Logan Forrester, Catherine Kelly Lang, will have a similar idea as they talk to Hope in the Forrester showroom. Hope won't know what the future holds when it comes to her relationship with Liam, but Deacon will push his daughter to open her heart and avoid letting Liam get away again. Brooke will agree that Liam and Hope belong together, so she'll support the idea of them figuring things out and rebuilding their bond. Katie, Brooke, and Deacon will all play Cupid on Friday's show, so Liam and Hope will get plenty of advice from their matchmakers. Finally, Daphne Rose, Muriel Hilaire, We'll have some questions for Carter Walton, Lawrence St. Victor, about what happened with Hope. So Carter will reflect on his broken engagement news and open up about his pain. The Bold and the Beautiful spoilers say Daphne will help Carter try to move on. So stay tuned for updates on what's ahead for these two. Jacqueline McInnes, Wood's family, has added another boy to their brood. The longtime The Bold and the Beautiful star, 38, has welcomed her fifth baby, son Talon Ruspoli, with husband Elon Ruspoli, posting the exciting news on Instagram. In the post, which featured several snaps and videos of her life lately, she shared the first glimpse of her newborn. She captioned the set of photos, "A little slice of paradise," in the comment section for her post. She opened up more about her home birth and how she's soaking in every precious moment. "Welcomed a beautiful, healthy baby boy at home, Dove Sparkles," she wrote. "This season has been all about being still, soaking in every precious moment, and embracing the quiet magic of new beginnings." Social media took a little back seat, but I'm so happy to be back and say hello again, Whiteheart. Wood and Ruspoli are parents to 4 other sons: Rise, 6, Lennox, 4, Brando, 3, and Valor, 2. Back in mid-March, Wood dropped the surprise announcement that she was pregnant in her weekly newsletter. In one section of her newsletter, Wood titled the paragraph "And a Little Secret," sharing her exciting news. "I'm almost 7 months pregnant. Our family is beyond excited, and my kids are over the moon," Wood wrote. "It's such a special time in our home. So much love, energy, and anticipation. Never miss a story. Sign up for People's free daily newsletter to stay up to date on the best of what People has to offer, from celebrity news to